Week 8 in the NFL season is here, and guys, we're going to break down 3 of the featured games. Can Kansas City continue their success back home after the upset win at San Diego, hosting St. Louis today? We've got a Cincinnati team that's lost 3 in a row, taking on a red-hot Baltimore team that's won 5 out of 6. And then one of the most interesting games on the board, Arizona and Philadelphia. Eagles 5-1 coming off the bye. Can they dethrone the Cardinals in Glendale? Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here along with Brandon Lang. Listen, guys, we have been handicappers for almost 25 years. And I used to be a former sports reporter, so what I used in, covering teams, being in the locker room, on the field, that really has shaped my handicapping career. Brandon, of course, former athlete, and he had that little movie made about his life, 2 for the Money. And who was that guy, that unheard of guy that played you in the movie?
Matthew McConaughey, I believe, who just won an Academy Award. So, yeah, good stuff.
God, whatever happened to him? I mean, career just went nowhere. Yeah, but anyway, hey, listen, guys, we're going to break these games down. And the best part about you being here at the site is you can get my best bet and Brandon's best bet. And here's the irony, guys. When we do this show, we're recording a couple days in advance. Last week, we do the show. We talk about a bunch of games. I have no idea who your best bet's going to be on Sunday. You don't know mine. 5 minutes before starting, did I just ask you what was your bet? You were on the Colts just like me last week, and we collected big time. Thank you, Indianapolis.
Yeah, we did. Right here on the show last week, I went a documented 4-0. Al went 3, and, well, just a tip on the Giants, a very small move on the Giants, so 3-1. So here on the show, combined 7-1. But more importantly on the website, had you got the one-day free all-access pass, you would have got all best bets of all handicappers. And here's the great part. 10-3. Listen to me right now. 10-3. Absolutely free. $800 of free best bets, and you went 10-3. And Al, I don't know anywhere on the planet Earth you can go someplace and get 10-3 free anywhere.
And listen, bottom line, guys, is that was well over $1,000 worth of action. You can see the regular prices of the handicapper here. $1,000 worth of action, and you got it for free. Listen, you may be watching this video report Friday. You may be watching it Saturday. You don't have to wait till Sunday to take advantage of the one-day free access trial pass. You want to start the weekend with all the Saturday college football plays? It was a phenomenal week here last weekend in college as well. So listen, bottom line is this. Take advantage of the free offer, and why we do it is because we've always felt that why hide anything? Total transparency, pulling back the curtain and showing what really is going on with the Wizard of Oz.
The amazing thing is, in an industry where everybody wants something for money, we don't. We want you to come to the website. We want you to visit and introduce ourselves to you as handicappers and show you we know what we're doing. And all we've done consistently this year is win. And 10-3 last week is validated and documented. So take advantage. Over $1,000 of free picks, one-day all-access pass. It's absolutely free. Click on the banner at the top of the webpage.
Okay, first game we're going to break down here today is going to be the Kansas City-St. Louis game. The schedule makers, I don't know what they were doing with the Chiefs here. I mean, certainly penalized them. This is only their second home game in a 7-week stretch, only their 3rd game at Arrowhead this season. Now, the first one didn't go too well as they lost to Tennessee. Second one, obviously, was a little better, that 41-14 shellacking of the Patriots in that Monday night game. Kansas City's on a roll. We talked about it last week. We both told you here on the show we liked the Chiefs at San Diego, and they got the job done. 4-0-1 against the spread on their last 5. But now today you're laying 7 points against the St. Louis team that pulled perhaps the biggest shocker last Sunday, beating Seattle at home. I just think this is a lot of points to be asking Kansas City to be laying in this spot.
It is. Listen, I'm 6-1 on Monday nights this year, and a couple of weeks ago I took the Niners over St. Louis, and St. Louis gave that game away. And yes, I covered with San Francisco, but I was very lucky and very fortunate to do so. All this Rams team does is play hard. All they do is keep themselves in ball game. We saw them, I know it's sensitive to talk about it now, but the big comeback in Philadelphia where they scored 3 times, I think 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Then of course, the letdown against San Francisco where they were in that football game. But last week, what they did against Seattle tells me that Jeff Fisher has this young football team playing hard. And I have to tell you, I was a fan of Austin Davis at Southern Miss, and all this rookie does, I call him a rookie because he's really starting for the first time in the NFL, all he does is manage their offense and play well. Letdown situation for KC, I'm going to take St. Louis plus the points.
Austin Davis, 18 for 21 last week against Seattle in 5 starts, completing like 66% of his passes. And he's going against a Kansas City pass defense that's ranked number 2 in the league. But I think that's somewhat of a deceptive stat because Kansas City's pass defense is so good because their run defense is so poor. At the same time, you've got a St. Louis team that really does not stop the run. So I think Jamal Charles is going to get his 25 totes. That's good because if you're going to be on the dog, it's going to eat up some time on the clock. I found it very interesting in researching this game. Home favorites through the first 8-9 weeks here, depending on how you look at it this season, that are laying between 7 and 9.5 points, guys, 13 and 21 against the spread. You got an Andy Reid coach team, and you know what happens with the Chiefs at home. Home favorite the past couple of years during Andy Reid's tenure, 2-6 against the spread. So I'm with you. I think you got to grab the points. And again, we've talked about this. The line is probably going to be 7. You got to buy up the half point, guys. You don't get beat by the hook. So if you got 7, you buy up to 7.5. If you got 6.5, which I doubt you're going to get, you got to go up to 7 anyway. Next game, Cincinnati and Baltimore. What a complete collapse by the Bengals.
I'm going to tell you. Come out of your bye week, you're the toast of the NFL. You go up to New England, catching the Patriots off the Monday Night Massacre at Kansas City, and they no-show. They get blown out. Okay, I get that. New England was in a must-win situation. Now you come back home where you were 11-0 in the regular season, straight up and against the spread going back to last year. They're back. Here they go. They're going to show everybody we're here. And they tie Carolina 37-37. Against a Carolina offense, it's not going to scare anybody. Okay, I get that. I unloaded on Indy last week over Cincy because, in my opinion, Marvin Lewis and the Bengals are done. The light switch has gone off. This team is in a lot of trouble. Now, I talk about right side to games and wrong side to games, and I'm going to force Cincinnati to show me they can find it after 3 weeks of imploding. I like Baltimore in this game.
Yeah, listen, the Bengals, first 3 games of the season, like you said, they win them all. Defense gives up 33 points. Last 3 games, Patriots, Panthers, and Colts, they give up 107 points. And you've got a Baltimore team that's on a nice roll here. Other than the loss at Indianapolis 20-13, they've won 5 out of 6 since losing the season opener at home to these very same Bengals. And remember in that game, it was a game where A.J. Green, who may or may not be available because of a toe injury, caught a touchdown pass with about 5 minutes to go that gave Cincinnati the win. But really, the Bengals, they moved up and down the field, but once they got to the red zone, they couldn't get into the end zone against this Ravens defense, and they had to settle for 5 field goals.
That's a big problem for them, red zone offense. And if you're going to cover numbers in the NFL, everyone knows this. You've got to put up touchdowns rather than field goals. And that's been Andy Dalton and this offense's problem all year long. If Green is doubtful, I just think the Ravens are right now, as the NFL season goes, you look for teams to ascend and to improve, not digress. Those are the teams you jump on, and those are the teams you ride. When Baltimore went in and put up over 40 on Tampa Bay, who beat Pittsburgh, I said, okay, let's keep an eye on the Ravens. The Ravens are in the go zone right now. Good play for Sunday.
Yeah, and one more thing about the Ravens. Going into the season, going into that opener against the Bengals, everybody thought, well, Bernard Pierce is going to be the guy at running back. Bernard Pierce fumbles a couple times in that game. He eventually gets benched. Justin Forsett has come out of nowhere to run for like 503 yards on the season. And now he's going to get a chance to go against this Cincinnati Bengals defense. Not only are they giving up a bunch of points, but during this mini losing skid, I mean, they're allowing opposing running backs to almost average 5 yards a carry and 140 yards a game.
Now, you put Joe Flacco in play action. Joe Flacco's lethal. Any quarterback in the NFL, you put them in play action, they're going to be lethal. But more importantly, Joe Flacco and Steve Smith coming over, what he's done to open up, stretch the defense. The Ravens look really good to me right now. I've always been a fan of John Harbaugh, and more importantly, I'm going to stay with the Ravens here. They've always been good to me. Certain teams are, Ravens are, and I'll ride them on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. And, it's kind of ironic. Here we are. We don't talk about what the games are. We decide what the games we're going to talk about on the show, but we never say, oh, I like so-and-so, I like so-and-so. But we are definitely on the same side here going into the Arizona-Philadelphia pick. The Cardinals, a 2.5-point favorite at home against the Eagles. Eagles coming off a bye. They're a very impressive win in that Sunday night game, 27-0 against the Giants prior to the bye. A rested team, a team that is getting healthy. They've had so many injuries along the offensive line, beaten up at linebacker. The rest can only help. You got an Arizona team that I don't know if it's a mirage, but the bottom line is Bruce Arians has this team playing great ball.
It's funny. You look for line value in the NFL. And due to the fact that the Eagles roll in here 5-1, they're off the public viewing blowout of the New York Giants, you kind of go, wow, Philadelphia's in the go zone. But all the Arizona Cardinals continue to do is not only win, but they cover the number. They figured out a way to cover the number at home against San Francisco. They went on the road and beat Oakland. Carson Palmer's playing well. They even go on the road and beat the Giants and figure out a way to cover on the road. I'm a big fan of Bruce Arians, always have been. But at this value number of less than 3, and last time I looked out was 2.5, I just think you can't go against this Arizona team at home right now just because all they're doing is covering numbers.
Well, and that is absolutely right. I mean, they have certainly been a paycheck team so far here in Vegas. However, I differ with you on this one. I personally think the Cardinals are frauds. I think that we're going to find out here. Would I personally bet this game? Absolutely not. Not for the fact that I'm an Eagles fan, but for the simple fact that I think this could be one of those 24-23 games that can go either way and somebody wins it in a field goal. Listen, I think the Cardinals, one thing they have going for them here, they're great at stopping the run. Number 1 rush defense in the league, giving up just 72.5 yards a game, holding opposing running backs to 3.2 yards a carry. Before playing the Giants, the Eagles, because of all the offensive line problems, really hadn't been able to spring Shady McCoy. Now, Darren Sproles hurt his knee in the Giants game, may or may not be available here. I don't see the Eagles having success running the ball here. I think that one of the reasons they had success running the ball against the Giants is the Giants defensive coordinator, unlike anybody else in the NFL, didn't focus on bringing everybody up to the block and stopping the run. I think Arizona, of course, has the advantage. They don't have to overplay the run because they've got a secondary back there that is just great. And they don't have to, they can take some chances. So I don't see Philadelphia running the ball well. I think it's going to come down to Nick Foles. Listen, last year, a dream season, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This year, not such a dream-like season, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions already. And yet I still will go back. I really believe the Cardinals are a fraud. I will own up to it next week if I'm wrong, but I think the Cardinals are a fraud.
I'll play devil's advocate. Hot shot quiz. Who leads the NFL in interceptions? Nick Foles. When they traveled out west to play the San Francisco 49ers, they didn't cross midfield till mid-fourth quarter. Their offense was completely inept, and it took, I believe, a fumble return for a touchdown, interception return for a touchdown, punt return, all these crazy special team scores. I can't get that out of my head, and I just think Nick Foles is going to be forced to win this game on the road in a hostile environment. I'm going to bet against that. I'm going to force Nick Foles to have a big game where he's been a little interception prone this year. And it's good that Al and I are on the opposite side of a game every now and then. I'm going to take the small favorite.
And just countering his devil advocate point, just remember in the 49ers game, Eagles' offensive line was in its total disarray, worst status of the season. Since then, Lane Johnson came back from the 4-game PED suspension that started the season. They've gotten healthier, and I think that they are being able to find those holes for McCoy here and hopefully Sproles as well. And yet again, I wouldn't bet the game because I still think it comes down and it's right there. Somebody wins 24-23. Again, I think in your case, if you're going to play Arizona at 2.5, if I'm going to play the Eagles at 2.5, I'm buying up to 3. And if you get 3, hey, you're either buying down to 2.5 on the favorite, you're buying up to 3.5 on the underdog. So we're in unison in terms of both thinking that St. Louis is going to catch Kansas City here in a soft spot in their schedule. And if anybody doesn't believe teams have letdowns, let's just say 2 words: Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went on radio last week and said it just didn't make sense that Cleveland hasn't been a road favorite of more than 3 points. I don't know, since Christ came back 2,000 years ago. I mean, you put them in a position to cover a number they're not used to covering, and they fell flat on their face. Letdowns happened in the NFL, and I believe it's going to happen with Kansas City this week.
One of the things I've always said, guys will always say to me as a handicapper, oh, well, college kids are always prone to letdowns. And I'm like, no. It happens to everybody. My first year as a reporter, NBA Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. I'm talking to one day just casually outside after practice, and we're talking about those type of things. I say, how somebody lost the night before in the league, and no way they should have lost. And he says to me, quite honestly, he says, do you think we can get up for every game? And that's always been impressed upon my mind in all my years doing this, because I'm going, wow, they're telling me guys that are making the big bucks can't get up for every game. We know college kids can't, and you're always looking for these soft spots in the NFL, and that's that St. Louis-Kansas City game.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've partied in Vegas with plenty of professional athletes, and one of which was a noted NBA All-Star. who said, you know what, coming out of the All-Star break, I partied like a rock star one year, and I was going to Denver, and I faked an injury because there was no way I was ready to play. And they were a 3.5-point road favorite. They got blown out by 25. So again, it happens. It's there. You just got to spot it, and don't be afraid to take advantage of it.
Okay, guys, that'll do it for this week's show. Remember, take advantage of the free one-day all-access pass. You can do it any day of the week. You don't have to wait till Sunday. And both Brandon and I have our daily video reports here on the site, so check them out for our insight and our free picks on a daily basis. And we'll catch you next week on the Countdown to Kickoff show.